Hello ratbags, it's Jade with a VALHEIM update video. Well, kind of. There is brand new test build version of the game and you can go and access it and help developers find any bugs or issues. Now normally we get to see preview stuff that's going to be coming into the game as well, but it does look like they're going to be focusing mainly on just bug fixing and little improvements. So don't expect to see any home and hearth update stuff in these next few ones. But there is a test build running. I'm going to show you guys how to access it. I'm going to show you guys how to create backups so you don't delete any of your worlds or your characters, and we're going to go over a few other stuff like interviews in the community, other YouTubers that have got some interviews with the creator, as well as VR support for VALHEIM. Could it be a reality in the future? But today's video is going to focus on that test build server and changes to terrain. It does look like they are trying to improve after we spoke last time about how much it tanks performance when you do lots of landscaping and terraforming. It looks like the developers are trying something out. So let's go. So it's been a couple weeks since we've had a last VALHEIM update, and it does look like they are going to be doing test builds from now on, which kind of makes sense. They've got content incoming and hopefully it means we will get a chance to see some of this, although not right now. These build versions of the game, they aren't necessarily going to show off all the new stuff. It's still about bug fixing and optimizations, but there are still some juicy elements to this, and if you want to help developers out, you can go ahead and try this test version of the game. And hopefully it means we won't get updates that really break the game or lose us to lose any sort of data. Now, in case you're fairly new to it, lots of survival games use test servers and obviously other games too, and so it's just a way to give some feedback to the developers and try new stuff. So to access this, you're going to need to join the Discord because they've asked for the password not to be shared. I don't know why you're doing this, Iron Gate. If you're going to have test builds and you're opening up to public in Discord, you might as well just make it available without password. You've got over 100,000 people in your Discord or some ridiculous number like that anyway, so asking people not to share the password in public seems a bit of a moot point. But anyhow, that's what they've asked, and so to gain access to this, you're going to need to go into Discord and then click on this emote here. That will then give you access to the test server, little Discord chat channel where you can ask for help and obviously see what's going on with future updates. Now, like all test servers, there's always a risk that you might corrupt your character or your world jumping back between them. So it's always best advised to make backups, which I'm going to show you guys how to do. And also they've asked you not to use mods while you're using the test server or the test mode. Apologies, I keep calling it a test server. That's what normally these things are usually used for, like Sea of Thieves, PUBG have test servers. But effectively, it's not obviously a server, is it? It's your own game, so you can play this without other players. You don't have to join actual servers. It's all just about it being your game that you can test and see if anything's running right. Now, as said again, don't get too excited. You're not necessarily going to be seeing brand new content like the Home and Hearth update that's coming hopefully very soon. This is still more just about bug fixing and checking stuff out. But in the patch that they actually started on last week, that's why we haven't had an update. They were doing this in secret on the test servers, or test build I should say. This is what they had. Swamp Draugr spawner location fixed to prevent Draugrs from spawning inside stones. They fixed the Locks Pet SFX fix. Torches in swamps should no longer support buildings. The Dolmen location stone size is fixed. If you've seen them strange stones that look like they're almost a bear on 4 legs or creature, well, now they've been fixed. I think that's the second time they have had been fixed. New terrain modification system. Apparently they are trying something slightly different with it, or the way it works, so hopefully this is going to help with performance. Terrain modification priority changed. Terrain modifications in an area should load first, only applies to the new terrain modification system. World loading tweaks to fix issues with ships and buildings getting damaged while loading. Stop serverless download when starting game. Lower the cost of raising ground. That is now only 2 stone instead of 4. Now I'm going to show you some of this stuff and explain it in a bit more detail. Anywho, let's go and actually get the test build up and running. Right click on VALHEIM and then you want to go to properties. You can see it there, it's on the bottom in there. I haven't actually got VALHEIM installed because I just had to reinstall Windows, which was a pain in the butt, and now I'm moving it over to an SSD. Click on betas and you can see it's empty. You need to put the password in here and then check the code, and then it will give you the option in the top down above it for the new test build. As said, I think it's a bit weird. They don't want people just putting it out in public, so I'm going to adhere to that though. If you want to check it out, you have to join Discord and find out for yourself. Maybe they're trying to keep this a little bit quieter because they don't want everyone testing it out, but that's the idea of having a public build. you just let everyone try it. You shouldn't have to try gating stuff off. Obviously they want to get feedback on anything, or any problems or issues, but then if you want it to be going to a smaller amount of players on actual only testers, then the devs can create their own separate little builds as well. So like I said, I had to reinstall Valheim anyway, so I'm just sorting this out for myself, but normally it would mean that the game will update automatically and then you can go ahead and start playing the game with the new test build content. Now the advice they've given is that your worlds or your characters should work in the test build, but if there's any problems or issues, you do want to make sure you've got some backups. And if you go back to the proper version of Valheim and not the test build, then there is a risk that you won't be able to load your characters onto it or worlds, etc. I would absolutely make 2 backup kind of folders. One that is your backup of Valheim before you go trying this test server out, which I'm going to show you guys. And then also make one of your test build character and worlds, which you can load up anytime you're going to go into it. But you can see it's still got all my worlds, all my characters, even though it's a brand new build of the game. Last thing to note as well is that when you do load up a new world, if you haven't put the correct parameter in, you won't be able to use dev commands. To do that, you're going to need to go back in to the options, click here, and then change the launch parameters. You'll see it's in the property section, and they're just in the box, the launch options. So do the minus sign, then console, and then that's it. You can close this box, start Valheim, and you'll have your commands back again, even on the test build of the game. So to create backups, you need to go to your Windows, Drive C, go to Users, find your profile, which is mine is Jade obviously, look in App Data, go to Local Low, then go to Irongate, that is the Valheim game. Click on that, click on the Valheim folder, then you can see your character, your worlds and all this data. Copy all of this data and then put that in a backup folder somewhere else. Obviously you do this before you start messing around downloading the brand new test build version of the game. You can see my copy is called the Valheim backup copy, and I've got that on my desktop, and it's got all the information from that folder I just showed you guys. Then you can go ahead and click play and start playing on the public test version. If you want to go back to the normal version, you go back into properties, go back to betas, click on the public test and click on none, and there you go, it's done again. A small tiny update, it'll update it and fix it, and you'll be able to play your normal version of Valheim. So again, my advice is make a copy of your test server character and world as well. Put that in a separate folder so that you've got 2 different versions, and you can just load up each version whenever you switch between them. They might not always still work because the build test servers will have new content, so it might not be compatible with some of your older characters or older worlds, but I still think it's worth just doing that so that you don't get too mixed up. If there's any problems, you do what I'm doing now. You just simply take your backup copy and you replace the files that are already there in the local low Irongate Valheim folder. This is how you can save and back up as many copies of the game, character and worlds as you want. And just to show you my Valheim test data folder, you can see it's got all the stuff from when I just played the actual test version of the game. If there's any problems with this at all, go into the Valheim Discord and just ask in that channel. There's plenty of people wanting to help, and there's lots of information in the pinned messages. So you can expect this update to go live for everyone hopefully this week. They've been working on it for nearly a week and a bit, so yeah, I'm expecting it to happen pretty soon. So we spoke about it before in a previous video, how much adjusting terrain is actually a problem for Valheim. If you're building big moats and big stuff going on, a lot of people have said that is the main reason they've got lag and desync and all sorts of stuff going on. Excuse my recording, obviously I've just reinstalled Windows. There's a few little glitches that mean my recording isn't turning out as nice as it should be. This was really smooth when I was playing it, but for some reason it's gone all jittery. Open up the console commands so that you can do the next command to see if it'll improve it, and type in OPT terrain. So opt terrain, one word, and you can see it will say nothing to optimize if the command has worked. Now supposedly that will work for 150 meters around you. So if you've got a big base, you might want to run around your whole base doing that command at different stages and just see if there's anywhere where you've adjusted terrain to see if it's fixed it. As far as I'm aware, that's my understanding. If I've got that wrong, please correct me someone, but yeah, that's what I think you're meant to be doing. So if we skip to me messing around with a hoe and just digging some trenches, you can see we're leveling the ground and stuff. And obviously, yeah, if you're finding there's lots of lag and problems, try that command and hopefully it'll fix it. You don't have to keep doing that command every time though. Once you've done it in a certain area or there's a new build of the game, you won't maybe necessarily have to do it. They're clearly trying to see if this will work and help improve maybe performance. And as you can see, with my jittery gameplay, wouldn't believe I've got a 390 graphics card, would you? It's reduced the cost of raising the ground. It is only now 2 stones instead of 4, so that's great news. And there we go, that is it. Let's move on to the rest of the community content. So if you don't know by now, my news shows are always geared towards community stuff as well, showing off your creations, whether or not that's mods, whether or not that's fan art, whether or not that's other creators' videos. Today we're going to go over some interviews with the devs that you can check out. I've already done an interview with Robin, the main art guy at iGate Studios. Go and check it out if you want. We talk about what the game's success meant, modding and console support in the future, as well as obviously game art and the way that games are made. I was pretty lucky to get him, but he's also been doing a round of interviews with a bunch of other creators too, and you should absolutely check some of these out. Velvy VHS got a nice hour-long interview, so have it on in the background while you're playing Valheim. You also get to see Robin's face, so it's quite nice as well because you can understand a lot more tone and stuff when developers are talking and you can actually see them. Killjoy Roger got a written interview with the devs, so he still reads out all the questions and answers. You don't actually have to be watching the screen. So if you want to hear more about the development of the game, absolutely go and check him out. It's a little bit on the quiet side, so crank your volume right up, but it talks a lot more about the lore and a lot of the art of the game, as well as their plans of having no paid DLC. Not for the usual kind of nonsense that you would see in other games anyway. You may have already come across the Valheim VR mods that are going around or seen some gameplay of it. Now this is interesting because the creator of Valheim, Richard, actually used to work mostly or heavily with modding games and software in the past. I think I got that right, correct me if I'm wrong, but everything I saw in my research, he did work for a sort of virtual reality kind of company. Now he's got nothing to do with this mod, but I reckon he might even find this interesting. I don't think they've got any plans to add VR support, certainly not now anyway for Valheim, and maybe not in the future, but yeah, at least a modder is running with it. You can see a little bit of the gameplay here. I'm guessing they've got a YouTube channel. This is done by Elliot Tate, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Obviously, it just feels like first-person mods that I've already shown off in the past if you don't have VR, but it'd be really interesting how this works. I'm not a big VR person. I literally throw up the minute I look at a phone in a car. I cannot play VR to save my life. But there is a VR modding Discord that you can join by the uploader of this video. So go and check it out here, and I'm sure it'll go through the details how to install it and do it. So there we go, expect that update. That I've pretty much gone through the patch notes. If anything obviously substantially changes, I'll do another video to let you know, but really you should be seeing this stuff as soon as you boot up the game. It's only when I really need to explain something would I do lots of videos talking about the small little patch note updates. We're really excited for Home and Half. I honestly asked Robin when we could expect it. He wouldn't let on, but I was surmising that it'd be the end of April, but he did say they were still working on a lot of bugs and a lot of problems, so maybe not even till May. They have been working on that content though. We saw the little tease of the crow decoration part, so hopefully it's going to happen soon, or Raven, whatever it is. And yeah, fingers crossed we'll get a big chunky update very soon. So until next time, rat bags, I'll be here as always for the Valheim news and the community roundup, what's going on. I'll see you lot later.